All right, here we go. Hello. So, I don't know if you can notice things, but, well, I know you can notice things, but I don't know if you've noticed this, but we changed the studio room in a kind of a big way. It was really a lot of heavy lifting for Corbin. And do you want to say hi to everybody? You want to come up and say hi? Come on. He's working on it. All right, anyhow. Okay, now you're coming to say hi. Say hi.
Hey everybody, it's me Corbin, and don't forget to take out your trash and separate the recycling. All right,
Is that it? Enough of this. You're embarrassing me. Okay. So, that's right. You come here for the maturity. Yeah, we've had a good weekend. We got lots done. Got some Christmas shopping done and all of that stuff. And I hope people are doing okay, getting ready for whatever holidays they celebrate. One of the things that sort of came to mind this weekend is how when you're working on the regular and you start going a certain route with your work. Like what I mean by this is when you're working on projects on a regular basis, your work tends to follow a separate momentum than maybe the one that you're normally doing. What are you doing? This is what I'm doing right now. Can you see him? Oh, no, anyways, so what happens is you start working in a specific way that isn't the normal way that you always have done things, or it's growth and development, but at the same time, some of those old patterns and little pieces of you that you put in your work starts disappearing, and so that's no fun. So I've been thinking about that a lot, and we're going to reincorporate some of that today. And in addition to that, let's chat about some stuff. You got all kinds of things planned for the new year, and I could use some feedback. All right, here's today's page that I posted. It is page 338 of 2023. We're getting close to that 356 goal. I have got 9 things in progress on Photoshop simultaneously right now, and that is not all of them. That's just the ones that I have open at the moment because I'm got all these things. I just literally just have to put finishing bits on each of them. And for some reason, I'm rather than finishing one and moving to the next, I'm just, simultaneously doing them all at the same time because that makes sense. It makes sense. That's why my friends call me Whiskers. Okay, so what today's page is from a suggestion that I did on Friday. And for those who watched Friday's stream, you would have seen some of the process of it. It's on jelly-plated paper, and it's in mixed media. So, and then I went and did the finishes in digitally with the text and everything else. You can see the original art on Patreon, blah, blah, blah. It links it down below. But this is a fun one. And it's a fun one because it sort of challenged a bunch of little different ideas to approach. It reminded me of some things that I sort of stepped away from. That, and I really had a fun time putting those accentuation circles down. Phone, 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 back. Get it? Back to the phone, phone, phone. Read it again. Anyways. Most probably nobody gets these things but me. Today's we got a crazy suggestion. For those that are joining late, by the way, Corbin had a special announcement at the beginning. And we put up a Corbin video. So, a snowball fight. It's one we've already done, but I still got a bunch in process. So, a snowball fight at live from Andre Rio's Winter Palace with guest stars Perry Como and Bing Crosby. That's today's suggestion. It's up in the chat. For those that are joining in chat, well, this one's going to be interesting. I'm going to do some of it today, I promise you. But before I get into it, into the drawing part, this is where I want to come back to. There that goes. I want to come back. Here's the table. Oh, that's another progress. Okay, so here's the table. So with the new setup, I've got better lighting figured out. I've got better stable cameras figured out. I'm not staring at a wall 6 feet from me, I've got the span of the studio, so it feels a little bit more alive. Different view. Hiya, Dan. Sorry, Dan's saying hi. I don't want to make people feel I'm missing him. How you doing, Dan? Welcome aboard. So, one of the things that I've always done on pieces, and this includes large drawings and large paintings, a lot of the stuff that I used to do showing in galleries, and I'll have to take you through what pieces that we have left in the house from that period. Excuse me. Where is it? There we go. Sneezing. Corbin doesn't like me sneezing, by the way. Yeah, does anybody have a cat that will sneeze and they look at you with just such disgust in their eyes? It doesn't matter. Okay. So, one of the things that I do in large paintings and large drawings, and this I've got some paper laid out here for us to utilize, but is that I will modify surfaces before I work on them. This is some Slap and Dragon, and then we got some jelly plate, and some Brer off in here, but let's just go to a white piece to start with. And okay, so one of the things that I'll do in order to break a hold that I had for a long time is that there's a daunting thing that a lot of people feel when they look at a blank piece of paper and realize that I don't want to wreck it. I don't want to make a mess, and I don't want to do something dumb, whatever. We've all been there. I was there in the past too. So these were my solutions. This is my response to that. And what? He's pawing at me the whole time. Hey, are you talking to me? So this is one of my solutions, is that I would do things like this. Now, I've got, and this would happen on scale. So what I mean by that is, I would take like a cold pressed Stonehenge paper, which was a really nice drawing paper. And if I'm working on a drawing, like I have a drawing, a painting in the studio. Hold on, I'll turn the camera around. There we go. So this painting that's up in the far side of the studio is of 3 of the kids when they were little. And but the surface of that painting has a whole bunch of pieces of paper in it. And so what I'll do is that I'll tear up these pieces of paper, and I'll take like a gesso or a gel medium, and I'll be priming the surface, sticking paper throughout the surface, priming over it, priming it right into the base. And the 2 processes came out of that. One was that I didn't have to worry about, what am I going to do when I attack this surface? Because I've already attacked it. Not just the priming part, but I'm already implementing surface modulation, right? And then the other part of it was it was just something interesting for me, like just some sort of way for me to just get in there, just start off and get in there in the first place. So, okay, so this is another thing I would do on a smaller scale, is that I'll take tape, and again, small pieces of paper. And oftentimes on the smaller things, I would use Post-its. And oh, by the way, today's musical listening of choice is the Pogues, in honor of Shane McGowan, who's just passed away. Lead singer of the Pogues. So, fantastic Irish band. Okay, so I've got these Post-its. Oh, hey, Chris. Sorry, I missed you there. Welcome aboard. So I've got these Post-its here, and I've got some gesso kicking around. Now, so what I'm referring to when I'm talking about modifying this surface is that, like, I'll just be laying down gesso on the surface and then just incorporating. Yeah. Anyways. incorporating these pieces of paper right into the base itself. Now, the other thing that I would use is this matte medium. Now, I have a specific matte medium container that I use because it's I've had this thing for some time and I've brutalized it quite properly. So, I can not be too concerned about making a mess of this, that medium. It's got multiple colors and whatnot. And I think that actually that allows me some additional opportunities. So this is, and at the same time, it allows the color of the Post-it paper to come through. So Paul's joined us. Hi, Paul. Hey, I was thinking about something. You know how we always say lurking? It just sounds so decrepit. It doesn't. I'm sure people are immunized to it now. But what about just say listening? It just dawned on me. I'm like, why don't we always say lurking? Okay, so here I am just putting some medium down, putting the paper down, and bedding it in. I've also got some gesso here that I'll just kick that around here and there. And again, I'm not overly concerned and I'm not overly precious, but here's the fun part of it all, is that as I'm doing this, it allows all kinds of fun opportunities for when I put down some marks on it. Because of the surface being as it is, when I put these marks down, they'll be altered by whatever medium is down, whatever paper surface is there, Chris says, part of the community says I'm hanging out in the balcony. Is that why everybody says that? I had no idea that that's what that meant. Thank you for telling me that, Chris. Okay, I'm hanging out in the balcony. I'm like, why is everybody sitting in their balconies? Seriously, I seriously thought that. Why are people sitting on their balconies? That is not an expression you probably hear very often from people in Canada. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. And Paul says, but I'm not just listening. I'm lurking and all the grotesque things that implies. That's thank you, Paul. So there's no underlying structure of where I'm putting things and why. I mean, maybe on a subconscious level, there's some judicial decision happening in my head about where I allocate placement of things, but I just sort of want a general application through the space, and but without any real intention to it. So a couple more, and that'll be about that. The band I mentioned I'm listening to today, the Pogues, one of the members of that band has, in what in my opinion, being a boy, is one of the coolest names I've ever heard. One of the band members of the Pogues was named Spider Stacy. I'm sure he's still with us, but his name was Spider Stacy. Now, whether his birth name was Spider, I do not know. But I do know that any person that opts to call themselves Spider as a stage name, I respect you, sir. Anyhow, or if a lady decides it, I respect her too. I might, even think that's even more interesting. But okay, so I've got some stuff laid down. I've got some gel medium spread through here. Now I'm just going to throw down some gesso. I'm sorry, it's a matte medium. I apologize. It's a matte medium. And the reason that I use the matte over the gel is because of that flatness. Okay, so now I'm throwing in the gesso, and I like some of the dry brush granulation that you get through this. Let me see if I can get that to focus there. I don't know if you can see much of it, but there's friscolation that happens in the tape. And I am down with that bad sound. Paul says he's supposed to be working. Hold on. Paul. Okay. So this is something, honestly, that I have done for years and years and years. I just, for some, it's to the extent that if there are people that in the area that you can look at something and go, Chris Brunswick did that. Why? Tape on it, right? And this is just more monkeying with the surface. This is just a little rubber stamp, and dot that down a little bit. But it's just monkeying with the structure of the thing. It's just so that when I get going on it, I'm not overly worried. I'm not overly concerned about what if I mistakes here, what if I make mistakes here or there. And I'll show you another thing. Sorry. Just keeping my blood sugar regulated today, folks. All right, so another thing I'll do before and after this thing has dried is that I'll just and so when I talk about in the stream here that the surface to me doesn't necessarily matter. It doesn't. But there should be nothing about the surface that constrains us from working over top of it. If anything, it just gives us little bits and bobs to work with. I'll hold this up so you can see it. He scribbled on it. What's wrong with that guy? I don't know. I'll have to get the committee together and discuss it. All right. Chris says, did you enjoy the PM Art Studio stream? I'm in the background most of the time, painting or crafting on the balcony. Yeah, I think they're wonderful. I caught a couple of their streams, but I've never said hi to it. I was out and about doing things this morning, and so I tried to engage in a couple of different streams. I didn't get a chance to get over to Dee Dee's and watch her video today, but Janet Nash's voice is a lullaby, if I can just say that. One of the most pleasant people on planet Earth. And I caught some of Janet's, and that was great. And then I got a chance to catch some PM Art Studio, and that was great. I think they're fantastic. I really do. There's things, if I can tune into your stream and you have things that I don't know what you're doing, if that gives me a pause for a second and says, okay, what is that? What did you just do there? Then you're going to see more of me. It's not to decry or say, oh, I know all the tricks. I don't. But that's my point. Is that when I find the opportunity to discover new things, why would I not want to pursue that more? What a gift, to learn new things, right? This is electrical tape. And why not, right? So the difference with the electrical tape from the fibrousness of masking tape or the relative smoothness of the Post-it paper is that the electrical tape is just this wonderful high-pressed smooth surface that isn't going to let you do anything over top of it. So I'll literally just take the matte medium right over it, and I can just go right over it immediately. That way I can get that crisp yellow popping through, but at the same time, be able to do something with it, right? Chris says, I work with tissue paper in a different way, but I'm saving that surprise for the streamathon, which will be December 31st at 7 p.m. or 7 a.m. Wow, my goodness. I don't know if I'm going to catch that one, Chris. I got to be honest. I'll watch the video of it, though, for sure. Got lots going on in New Year's, so I'm going to miss a lot of streams initially. I'm still going to do my regular Monday and Tuesday, but Monday I'll be telling people some of the changes that are happening. Now, in the setup, I've got my fan, or my blow dryer over there. Where did I move it? There it is. So I can utilize that better. So I'm going to make noise for just a quick second, you guys. And I apologize for that. But it has to be done just to expedite the process. Okay, now, nice, stable surface. So, I use tissue paper as well in the surface here. I use it a fair amount, and one of the, let's see if I can find one quickly. Sorry, Corbin, freaked the cat out. Bear with me 1 second. So one of the ways that I'll use tissue paper, maybe. Okay, so here's some fun things you can do with surface. This is onion netting. Whoops, can't see it. I'm so sorry. This is onion netting. And so I get that weave pattern because it's just the weave pattern. It's actual onion netting from your onion bag. And so I'll put that down on the surface. But you can also see here, can you see any of this modulation on the surface here? Around the B, maybe? What that is tape. This is tape and onion netting underneath the image just placed over top of it. And so, it gives a weight to the paper, that's for sure. Like in this one, applying paletted paint, like just take a palette knife, scrape some paint on the surface and just monkey it up there, throw some pencil into it. Here's the onion bag again, right here. So committed, he's behind this lattice work, right? And, so just little things, all these little different approaches that we can do to stuff, and it's no different than doing like traditional drawing. It's just keeps you fresh and open and, let me see. Let's see what I'm looking for. Here is tape. This is masking tape within a composition. It's a ballpoint pen drawing over top a piece of masking tape in here. And this is corrugated paper. So if you take a piece of cardboard and you separate it down the center, one part of it is really ridged. So I use that for a fence. Just, just because why not? I thought I had a page in here. You know what? I might have sold it. Yeah, I think I sold it. Okay, well, the one I was looking for, I don't think is in here. Anyhow, I'm sorry for that. But I had a page called Why Worry? And the whole surface is modified by tissue paper and then just primed over and just drawn on top of. And so you get all these wonderful little, oh wait, is airplane in there? Yeah, here, this is a tissue paper application. This is one I still have. So I got usually two things in a thing. That's just a marker drawing. Airplane. Okay, so this single page has tissue paper all throughout the surface. And then after it's dried, and I've lightly brushed over top of it, and all of its ridge work and all the other stuff that's happened there. And so as I brush over top of it lightly with a pencil crayon, it catches all of those ridges and stuff and gives this sort of really interesting patterning. I don't know that you can't see too well there. I'm sorry. I can put a scan of it up at some point. But all these little different ways that we can approach working on things just keeps us loose, right? Just keeps us lively with the fingers. So, all right. So I've got this. I got some pencil here. This is dried nice and flat. So today's suggestion, I'm reminding myself as much as I am you. Today's suggestion is from Chris A. and is a snowball fight live from Andre Rio's Winter Palace with guest stars Barry Como and Bing Crosby. So good fun. So this is the piece that we're working on today. And there we go. It should be okay. Yep, happy. So I've got a couple of different ways that I can introduce us into this narrative. Now, I normally talk about in the structure of approaching each story. And if you go through the posts that are on Instagram and Facebook and Patreon, you'll see every day I'm trying a different approach. Today's was two standard columns. The day before that, I think, was vertical. We're always trying different stuff, right? Now, with this one, I have no idea as of yet. So let's just go cracking. Now, the fun thing about, moving around. The fun thing about how we can do the page is that I can just get right into Andre and have him saying, "Hello, everyone, welcome to the scene." But yeah, you know what? I think I'll do that. So, and then we'll draw the palace, because normally you see me draw a setting first to sort of introduce you to the context of the narrative. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw him in the foreground, doing his little introduction. I watched the video, and it says instead of dear, he says dia, and instead of they, he says day. And I made notes of these things, and instead of come along, enough sooner you are able, af instead of ask. Like, it's just, because I'm not sure what he is, Finnish, Swedish, Norwegian, duck, I don't know, but nice guy. He says, viewers, I'll have viewers at home. Come on, that's fun. So I got to implement that kind of type into the page so that you can get a sense of the guy, maybe. Okay, so because I've put this down with all this modification on the surface, there's going to be some fun lines and interruptions that are going to happen throughout it. But the best I can do is, as I'm drawing it and as I'm laying it in, to just try to keep it as flat as I can in its application. So, I'm going to tilt the camera a little bit because I always seem to draw on an angle these days, I think. So, we're going to draw our guy. Let's start with those eyes. He's got some good eyes. Yeah, I enjoyed PMR Studio this morning. I got a chance to pop in and visit Janet M. Young here, and I heard about all the snarky fun that I missed on Dee Dee's stream this morning. I'm gonna watch, and she showed a bunch of books. Book haul Monday, and because I missed seeing that one, but I got to watch Janet Nash for a little bit this morning, and she's just was having a day of getting things going someplace, and a little anxiety inducing, and just having Janet Nash's voice nearby makes you go, ah. So if you have an opportunity to check out her stream, Dee Dee stream, Janet Young stream, PM Studios, PM Art Studios stream. I just became a member of their makers group, but I don't know how to go about. Do people really want to see what I do? Because there's a lot of the jelly plating stuff and the card stuff, and I don't know how much about sharing too much, because I don't know if people are interested in what I do. I'm pretty nerdy, this whole storytelling shtick. Chris says, I've been losing internet connection frequently today, so I was visiting all the streams for a little bit. Chris, maybe it's because you're sitting on your balcony. Okay, so I'm drawing our guy in. Now I'm going to put some more value to him in just a moment. It'll hopefully pop him right up. We'll get there in just a second. Okay, so a nice looking guy. I wasn't familiar with this guy until somebody told me. They welcome mixed media, not only jelly printing it. I have shared my prep portraits and coloring pages and use different techniques. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I had some reservation about. I appreciate they invited me in after. Well, you put an application through, but I still wasn't sure about. I don't know if anybody's going to want to see this. I got confidence in what I do. I just also trying to be courteous. Paul says, my internet has been sucking. I'm going to switch to the satellite provider. Okay. That's nice to have that option, Paul. So the reason that I turn out on a piece of paper up above here is that as you draw on one side of a pen, as I tend to do, you build up a dollop of ink on the opposite side. And if your pen turns, that goes right into your image, and that's where you get the ink smudging. So I'll often turn out the pen on an alternate piece of paper specifically to get rid of those guys, these little dangling bits. So, okay. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with Andre Rieu, but I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Nice violinist, orchestra conductor, I guess, or I don't know. I've literally only seen the one thing. Really, boys got some bank. So the idea here is that I'm going to do the open shot of him as he's, playing his violin. Hello, welcome to the show. And we're going to have the event location behind him. So it just sort of incorporates the two together. Now, I gathered a whole bunch of junk at the start, different pens and some paint markers and some China pencils and pencil crayons, and we're just going to throw whatever at the wall and see what sticks. So if anybody has any questions, thoughts, compliments, or complaints, then feel free to direct them to my HR, Corbin, who is having a nap now. Okay, so one of the things with drawing in these different values is emphasis lines and pulling up certain points and bringing a little bit of enhancement to those. But I'll go in and try to push it even further by using complementary colors. And so before I'll jump to a black, I'll want to build it up. Yes? So now, yes, what? Where are you? Oh, you're down. Yep. It's interesting. Interesting is that recently our work has been using greens, yellows, and blues. Isn't that fun? That's I didn't realize that. I'll have to look back at that. Are we both doing it? That's fun. It's a Chris thing. It's a Chris thing. So I've now gone over electrical tape, masking tape, and Post-it, as well as the regular paper with scribbles on it. And so as I'm building up these different, the drawing, the single image over top of these different surfaces, and there's a very different feel. What? No, there's a different feel to how the mark making tool moves over each surface, and it's kind of keeps you lively, keeps you interesting approach to how you put your marks down. Come on, just move over. Corbin's here, folks. Don't step on that. I think colors develop into emotions. Oh, they do, definitely do. I've been using green and painting grass around cat-eye painting. Well, it's winter, started here, and even in places where you're getting massive amounts of rain as opposed to snow, like Chris is, it's still a very different palette to the world. And of course, you're going to want to do that sympathetic magic thing where you pull in, those other colors from other seasons. And I never think about it too much until after the fact, really. Right down here. I'll change this up and put all the orange away. What am I doing? Nico's here paying attention to Corbin. Is Nico doing this to you? Does Nico sit directly on you while you're trying to work? Because it makes it interesting for me. But, I mean, some people might be thinking, well, I think every now and then you can see a peek of Chris's chest and there's a lot of light sandy brown fur. Oh, wait, he's got ears. Okay, so I'm just going to get this bit of our main guy here, and we'll get playing with him a little bit more. Sort of dragging my feet here, taking forever to get this drawn. I'm sorry for that. It's tricky talking and drawing at the same time. That's some good hair. That's conductor hair he's got going on there. So I don't know. I'm going to hold it up again so you can see, hopefully, the different applications, how it the texture affects. I guess it's not going to be clear enough for that. Nico's here too. She's paying attention to Corbin. Kika sits on Chris. The other cat sits on my lap, sat on my lap during my stream yesterday. Oh. That's so funny. Yes, it's funny. You gonna jump over? You going over there? Is that where you're looking? Go. Go ahead. Go on. Nope. He's just a lunatic. Okay. I normally go silent when I stream and making coloring or drawing decisions. Yeah, it is challenging to sort of. You want to make it interesting enough for people, or hopefully at least somewhat explanative about what are you doing, Chris? I don't know. I just make the pictures. That's probably what it usually sounds like, but I'm going to draw his fiddle and everything in just a moment. I just want to get us down to actually putting some build-up and application to his face. Just so that you're not all sitting there going, come on. All right, so I got a couple different things. I got like jelly plating pens, and then I've got this is a Polska, and so this is where I'll come in. Or is this a dead Polska? I got another one. Okay, he's alive. He's alive. So, and I'll start cutting back into the surface. But with the thing that, are you jumping? The thing that I like is that even if I'm coloring back over areas in the white and taking out some of these things like the scribbles that I made in the first place, you still see in the separations, like in between the green hash marks here, you'll still see the yellow peeking through. And that's the stuff that I'm always pursuing. That's the stuff that I'm always playing upon. Because to me, it's just sort of extra interesting little things that make the eye move around. And I say this all the time. I know. But it's whatever things that we can do to keep it ourselves, as well as whoever our viewers are interested. Why not? Make it fun, make it a party for them. And in addition to that, we can do things like, I got one here somewhere. Where did I put it? That's not it. I know I had more. There we go. Hey! Hey! We found it. See, so we can continue. And, fortunately, it's the same value as the electrical tape, so that we can continue this line around the exterior, highlighting our guy. Maybe this is done. I hope not. Let me use you a little bit. You're not the same. That's all right. I think I need to get some more postcard. Okay. So it's just making these different applications of value. That's more like an olive green. Who are you? Who are you like? You're dead. All right, Corbin. There he is. Okay, so we're going to come in here and see ya. Not yet. Not yet. So this is putting red down over top of these dark green areas in order to pull up the don't. Nope. Hit the bricks. Leave that alone. Corbin said, if you don't pay attention to me, I'm going to knock over everything. So I think I think you get the gist of it's just building it up, but the silly surface that we put together in the first place has just sort of made it easier for us to not to be too worried or too overly focused on the surface not being, the most pure and pristine thing that we've ever, marked upon. It's just to facilitate the drawing. I showed a book recently of a guy that features the notes of a teacher from California. Now, I recognize and I have apologized that in order to find copies, they're about $80 online. And this book called The Watch Annual from Vanguard Publishing has all the notes of Parent Story in it on art application and storytelling and image making. And he talks about addition and subtraction, and that a way to control the sorry, I'm just there we go. It's a way to control the depth of your image and how you can push so much harder and so much deeper. One of the things I noticed Mariah on PM Studio this morning doing is that she was doing a fair amount of layering on the mask item that she was fabricating this morning. And yeah, that's kind of exactly what I'm talking about here. And the more that you can implement stuff like that into your work, the more that you're going to find that people appreciate that, or they'll linger a little bit longer because of that, what that gives you. Might just all be at the bottom. Orange is dead. Huh. Is there any way to do anything with those things? Bring them back to me? No, it's not. All right. So I like that. I like when you can push things a little bit farther. I like when you can just add in little pieces of information to just give it a little something more. There's no, I don't think there's a rule book. And I think that whatever thing we're trying out today is the way that we're evaluating our approach today. I'm not a person who sits down and has a set style or a set approach to how I draw or paint or anything else, or how I mix all those together. I just go. And look for those happy opportunities. I look for those. I never really, it's like the Jackson Pollock says, I deny the mistake, I embrace the opportunity. I like that. I like that a lot. I made a Warhol quote last week, which is not very much me, and that was art is seeing what you can get away with. I like that. But oftentimes, people, you need to have some sort of comprehension of underlying structure. You need to have some sort of development. Allow yourself the time and practice to develop some facility in your drawing, some understanding and composition, some understanding and developing things up in the different. I'm losing words today. In the different. I don't want to say specialities because I find speciality as a single thing to be boring. Whatever the different skill sets you have, whatever the different practices that you have, develop them all. Like just play at different things and try to apply different things. Now, some people have a much greater ability to understand the names of things and the identification of specific process. I'm an intuitive guy who just throws spaghetti at the wall. But even I don't want to lie to anybody and say, well, that doesn't mean I haven't tried all these different ways of cooking spaghetti. See what I did there? So, okay, so I'm going to draw a line around here. And this is going to be this large opening space, and then we're going to get into some other elements peeking through. But I just wanted to sort of identifiably establish our principal guy. And of course I'm going to have him playing his violin here. So, but I wanted to start to play with some of the other colors up in the top part here, with the white breaking out. There's yellow electrical tape that runs through this whole space, but because we put the white application down there, because we played with some of the red and dark green together, and the complementary colors can deepen each other out for our quote unquote black and rabbit ears. And there's a little bit of brown as a framing motif. There's another yellow paint pen that surrounds that, which also sort of builds on that. And then I'm going to come back in here some more and put down some red and some green again, but I'm also going to use the white to pull it back off again. This is the addition and subtraction application that I was mentioning. Story would do, Baron Story, the painter, would do numerous layers to his drawings, to his compositions. And, power to him. They're, he's not wrong. They're his images, but that's a very complex way to approach it. And because of a lot of the tools and stuff that we have today, as opposed to when he was really experimenting initially, 1970s, 80s, we don't have to do quite as many rigorous layers as he has done on things in the past, just because things have become a little more improved. Composition of chemical compositions of mediums have improved, etc. So Chris says, I love those ballpoint pens. These are really inexpensive ballpoint pens. I appreciate you saying that. But these are just, you can find them at, dollar stores or whatever commensurate thing you have wherever anyone is. They're just inexpensive pens with just different colors. It's a Papermate. Inkjoy is the brand. And I find they're really accessible, but I really like Papermate over Bic because it goes a lot farther before the big dollop thing happens, as I mentioned. So, and you can really get some fun things happening through it. This is the olive. Yeah, it's like an olive color. So I'm going to use this in here as well, just to change some of the greens to a little bit of a cooler application, and then utilize this in the shadows. In the shadow. You know, there's so many colors in the face. It's fun to just play with putting different color in. This part's warm, this part's cool, moving things around. And it's color-wise so that you can sort of imply different, you know, the peaks and valleys in the skin. But this is the approach I'm going to be taking to this entire page. For some reason, so I listened to this program playing in the studio here of his Christmas concert, and just to see, you know, who it is I'm doing today, just because I'm not familiar with it, and I'm familiar with Bing Crosby and Perry Como, but I loved Bing Crosby growing up. I really did. When I was in high school, we a fella and I performed in our drama class. We did the Sisters song. We had bad wigs on. Sisters, sisters. Anyways, Chris says, I drew a butterfly, realistic with us. Oh, nice, excellent. Hello, fine people. I just popped by to say hello, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Jim Luan. Jim, pictures of Bill Plimpton's premiere of his new film are really cool. Thank you for posting those so we could see all these crazy cool cats hanging out. Okay, so all of this other surface modification stuff, before I forget, I'll get back in a second to you, Jim. But all of the surface modification stuff that I've talked about is something that, because it really is, these are implementing strategies and approach to how I've done my work for so long, and I really felt like I had lost this, and how I had really missed doing it. But for whatever reason, I wouldn't just sit down and put it back in. There was always something like, oh, well, I'll do that in the next one, and I'd forget. So today I decided, no more forgetting. Here it goes. So here we are. So this is a yellow pen that I'm putting in here. It's for the soft shadow that's on the bridge of his nose, and then I'm going to push this up into his forehead as well. But spreading these colors in and throughout his features moves the eye around, right? The yellow is consistent throughout. But rather than applying big flat values, the yellow over top of everything, just picking and choosing. Picking and choosing. I know. Corbin's coming to tell me that Mom left. She's got an appointment or a meeting she has to attend to. But this cat always feels the need to come and tell me, she's left us. We're never going to eat again. I think that's how he perceives it. So just finding these shadows, just playing with these shapes. So hopefully that's an okay enough likeness of Andre Rieu. He says 1 and 2. Yeah. Nope, wrong guy. I believe that's Walter Ustinuk. Transylvania polka. Okay, so feeling good with this part of it. I think it's time to move on. Come on along with me. No. Okay, so it's the little, whoops. It's the little marks that you can make in the right spots that can really make or break a face. It's that wave in the hair, or the glint in the eye, or the glisten on the cheek, whatever it is. It's always those little bits of information that, oh, I missed that part. Okay, so now, time for his violin. So I tend not to structure out my drawing. I tend to just draw it linearly across a surface. I realize that to other people that's not a comfortable way to go about it, and it can distort your lines. It can distort the perspective a little bit, but I don't know. I'm okay with it. I'm just going to go for it anyhow. So, but to each their own. Everybody, you need to draw the way you feel comfortable, and that's important. That's the important part. Also, as Janet M. Young would say, use a ruler. And also, don't try to stick too tightly to whatever your source imagery is. Allow yourself the freedom to move things a little bit, to play a little bit around with the composition. I found the butterflies I drew with those ink joys. I'll show them to you tomorrow. Yes, please. Chris is going to be, before I forget, Chris is going to be joining me here on the stream tomorrow for 3 Prompt Tuesdays. What might be the last 3 Prompt Tuesday? We'll see. We're going to figure it. No, I still got a couple more this year. I think I might change up Tuesdays next year. We might. We'll see. It depends. People are that are subscribed are like, hey, I really think 3 Prompt Tuesday. Well, leave 3 Prompt Tuesday. It doesn't make any difference to me. I just don't want people to be bored. It's Tuesday. People shout words at him, and he draws a picture from it. He draws a story. Okay, so as I've said before, and I'll say it again, when you're doing whatever your first image is, right, as you're doing said image, what it is establishing for you, or what it's the necessity of it is to establish for you, for your reader, the contextual aspect of your narrative. So if that means the main character or the setting or whatever the conflict of the whole situation is, it's just an explosion. Explosions were happening everywhere. Well, there we are. We're right into the story, because the story is, all about what are these explosions going on. And now we're right there in the narrative, right? So whatever it is, just utilize that first part of your page to establish that for the reader. The sooner that you can establish that for them, even if it takes a couple pages of a guy running down alleys, ducking, overhead lights or whatever it is, as he's being searched for by flying motorcycles. It doesn't matter what it is. But you just want to establish as quick as you can for the reader what is going on in this place. And that way it lets them get right into the thinking about what the story is and what's happening and what's going on with the characters, what's the motivations, what's the conflict. Chris says it rhymes. 3 from Tuesday. Yeah, excellent. It does. I don't want to. I don't know. I don't know how exciting this is for folks. I'm drawing a guy playing his violin at his egregiously expensive Christmas, location and performance that he's putting on for folks. Some people might, I'll just watch the video of him doing it. Thanks. Of course, the one thing I can say about whatever narrative is going to come out in the story that I'm writing is it's not going to be the same as whatever the parts of it that are contained within the story. I mean, here we Bing Crosby. Oh, we're going to have Bing Crosby do White Christmas? No. Because you're sort of expecting White Christmas, and I want to make it interesting for you. So he's probably not singing White Christmas. And one of the best parts of the suggestion is it's a snowball fight. There's going to be a snowball fight at this event. And, I get to interpret a snowball fight through this fella, Perry Como, and Bing Crosby. And all those kids over there just throwing them snowballs around and hitting each other right in the noggins. Great. One of my favorite things, Christmas, is David Bowie and Bing Crosby having a duet of Little Drummer Boy. I still love hearing that. I loved it when it first came out. I still love it now. It's probably my favorite Christmas song. And, and I still like Fairy Tale in New York by the Pogues. Please don't judge me. I don't drink, but any song that starts, it's Christmas Eve, babe, I'm in the drunk tank. You have to hear it. Fairy Tale in New York. It's a little confronting, but I enjoy it. Okay, so we've got our main guy, and despite the I'm gonna put the bottom of a stick in here. Despite the modulation in the surface here, we're still putting the image down flat on top of it, and developing our composition so that it incorporates a lot of these elements. Like here I am pulling the white sleeve out with the Posca paint. Just taking advantage of what opportunities are presented to us and seeing what that gives us. So, I don't want to cover this whole yellow bit up, but if I, clear away the one bit so that it emphasizes the yellow within that green, I think that interesting things happen in that. Even though his lapel and his suit coat here is rather dark color, I like these pieces of information that are inside there. And so the same with the masking tape, as it goes over that part of it, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to differentiate and pull back on the color in the tape so that we can more fully render the hand. So even though I put all these tapes and whatnot down on the surface, I'm not trapped in having, you put the green there and now you're stuck with it. Nope, no such animal. So allow yourself that. Allow yourself to maintain, what marks, what colors you want where. So, but the fun thing that happens is in the actual piece itself, when you look at the surfaces of it, you're like, what is wrong with this thing? But you also get fun little things like this square rectangular shape cutting out of the side of his head, which you might not realize is the inside of his head at the same time. And the organic aspect of the tape, that it hasn't got this rigid form to it. I like that. I like the contrast of that. So, and I'll do the same. I've got a few different colors of masking tape, whatever different painter's tape I can find, whatever different colors I can find, I'll pick them up. And I'll utilize those in different pieces. Like I usually have X amount of tapes kicking around on my desk. I bought this at a dollar store. It's a toilet paper roll, and when you press the top, it lights up in a bunch of rainbow colors, but I use it as a tape holder because it holds all the tapes really great. So, okay, so I also brought an orange. Oh, is this the right guy? Oh, that's yeah, let's use this one. It's more of a jelly ink to the first one. So there's no ink, or there's no orange in any of the other parts of the composition here. So it's really going to pop out. But I'm going to put some of that brown back in there and root it down again. So it's there. It's doing its job. But I just want to make it part of the whole image and not just orange, What are we at? What time are we at? 1:12. We're doing great. We're having fun today. I'm having fun today. I hope you're having fun today. So I'm going to take the white and I'm going to cut across with the baton, or where I'm sure I don't know the name for that part, but that part? Yeah. But the root colors through the whole composition here is clearly the green. And so as that moves through the whole of the space, it is going to afford us some tying together of the whole, because that green runs throughout. Doesn't mean that you have to be lockstep into doing that using an underlying color, but it doesn't hurt. That first finger note placed. Hey, all right. So as I talked about before, here he is throughout the foreground of this image, and I'm going to cut it here like so. But what's behind him is his Winter Wonderland setup, where he has this concert playing, or performing, that he and his orchestra are all facing a number of people and fancy tables, knowing how to have a dinner or something, I think, but they're all outside. It's a very outside event. Hopefully we're all served warm soup. So tomorrow at 2:00, if people are able to join, Chris will be joining me here. We will be, both of us, taking a 3 prompt suggestion. So if you have prompt words that you want to send our way, there's a random word that you think might be fun to see people incorporate into a story, feel free to make that suggestion in the comments. And if you're in the chat, you can put it in the chat. But if it's after the video's over and you're watching, go ahead, put it in the comments. Don't be afraid. No one's going to tease you. Can't believe that guy said sucks. Whatever it is, elephant. Send suggestions, by the way. I'm going to say elephant slash just to get Chris. There you go, bozo. So, okay, so this is where I'm going to draw the line of my panels over here. And then, of course, we've already established it's down here for this part, but we're going to finish this part of the composition here so that I can sit down and move to, I did this wrong. There we are. So here his arm. We'll get some word of warning. Anyways, can listen to the Fairy Tale in New York song that I suggested earlier. It's got cussing in it, so people don't like that. It's a silly Irish. It's not a love song at all. It's not a fairy tale at all. But that's why it's such a ridiculous Christmas song to me. I played it at his funeral. Okay, so here's our drawing laid in now for us. So, oh, I got to do the head of the violin. Well, we'll get a little bit of it. We'll figure out where our panel's going to kick in. But let's build up some of the white in his shirt here. So even though I've got this faded yellow post-it here underneath him, that color gets to pop through now. It gets to leak through the white. That's, to me, that's some of the fun. Where are we at? Am I keeping up? I'm not paying enough attention. Oh, Chris says it's looking good. Thank you, Chris. That's nice of you. So now that I got this all established for our main guy and where he is and the frame. So now I'm going to come in with all of these other colors you see grasped tightly within my hand and fill in a lot of these other values. There we go. Okay, now back to some of the features here. We're going to put some of these emphasis points back in. Now that we've got the whole thing drawn and laid out, we can continue down some of our lines. This is where a jelly roll pen becomes handy, because a white jelly roll lets you draw tight, thin lines, tight, thin, straight lines. Now for my fingy. Okay. So I'll use that to put in the strings. So I'm really lightly putting this red down over the deeper green. Just to play off on the complementary colors. And we'll do this a couple more times. Let's do it in a second. let's go back into here and its features. It's a nice looking person. Looks very happy. He really likes the violin. Widen that line. A little more shape to his face. Yellow. No be yellow. Yeah. Happy. They are silent now. Okay, so here's where we are. So some of the stuff I talked about at the start about monkeying up the surface with the Post-its, the tapes, the medium, the gesso. We got the gesso. We got the matte gel medium. We got what I throw in there, some pencil. I did some green pencil scribble throughout it. And so despite all of these different things, it's still a case of applying the image just directly over top of it and not worrying too much about all of these other things, but looking for chances to take some of that information, like the yellow and the greens that are in the surface, or the scribble marks that are in the surface. I mean, like, there's a fun thing that's happened here. See if I can get it to pick up. One of the sweeps of the pencil goes across as though to simulate like movement across this person playing. And it's one of those sort of subversive things that, we don't realize there's directional movement in composition when until you're looking at it as a whole. Sometimes squint your eyes and just look for blocks of shapes, or sometimes it's a case of, if I focus on the blue values, there's an arrow, like there's a sort of, sometimes even an actual direct, there's an arrow embedded in the image, but it's those things that we can do to make it interesting for the viewer as their eye moves around throughout it. So, yeah. So that's the sort of stuff I'm bringing back more of, because I kind of miss doing this. And in the early streams, you'll see I do a fair amount of it. But I managed to, and reorganizing my space, make accessible for me far more of the different mediums and the different mark making tools and the different, paints and watercolors and inks and stamps and papers and right? So all of that is more accessible to me around the space now. So I'm going to be playing with all kinds of crazy things that I've been known to do in the past, and get back into doing some of those just to keep it fresh and lively for me too. So I hope you enjoyed today. I'll be back tomorrow at 2 with my special guest, Chris Cooley. So, Chris says, mixing everything. Yes. Oh yeah. I'm a little bit unhinged and out of control when it comes to mixing everything. I mean, I even took a rubber stamp and smacked it in the drying gesso. It's just, you don't see it, but it's there. It might do something interesting. Either way, thanks everybody for comments. Thanks, Chris. See you tomorrow. Chris will be with me, Chris Glory, tomorrow at 2 p.m. EST. And I think it's an hour earlier for you, Chris. I think it's 1 p.m. EST or 1 p.m. Are you MST? I don't know what your time zone is, but 2 p.m. EST tomorrow. And we're going to be having some fun on 3 prompt Tuesday. So come on out and join us, folks. That's what it. Thanks for coming out. Bye for now.